In this video, I'm going to talk about what, in my opinion, are the pros and cons of investing in property. Hi, I'm Simon, and I'm just an ordinary person who's been investing in property since 2005 and in the stock market since 2014. The aim of my channel is to document and share with you my journey and hopefully to inspire some of you to invest along the way. This video is not financial advice and is merely for entertainment and educational purposes only. I bought my first property in 2005 and it was a one-bedroom flat in London, which I bought for £140,000 and sold it for £240,000 9 years later, netting me a profit of around 100k. That was an infinite gain for me as I didn't put any of my own money into the deal. I paid no stamp duty, no deposit, and I was able to rent it out for most of the 9 years that I had it, which covered all my mortgage and all my costs. Happy days! A few years and a few flats later, I bought a 4-bedroom house, which I changed to a 6-bedroom house without doing an extension, and which I rented out as an HMO, a house of multiple occupation. I bought this house with OPM, or other people's money. I was able to borrow the money from investors who I paid interest to cover the buying costs, which were the stamp duty, the deposit, the solicitor's fees, and the building surveyor. And I borrowed the rest of the money from the bank by way of a mortgage. And I also managed to get an interest-free loan from the local council to complete a £40,000 refurbishment on it. The third pro is that there are a lot of strategies that can be used with property. For example, the simple buy-to-let, which is what I do, flipping property, where you buy a distressed property, fix it up and sell it for a profit, serviced accommodation, or rent-to-rent, where you rent from a landlord and sublet, with the landlord's permission, of course, or lease options, which is not well known in the UK in the residential markets, but is better known in the US or in the commercial field. It's where you lease a property with the option to buy at a later date at a price agreed today. There are more strategies, but those are the most common and well known, I would say. If you are thinking of doing serviced accommodation, rent-to-rent or lease options, I highly recommend that you do a property course first, as there are a lot of nuances and legalities that you need to know, because if done wrong, could get you into a lot of trouble. Personally, I took a 1-year course with Simon Zucchi's Property Mastermind. This channel is called Simon Invests, and I invested 10,000k into doing the course, which netted me £40,000 in my first property project after doing the course. So, money well spent, in my opinion. The fourth pro is that you can get a lot of satisfaction in knowing that you are providing a service for people who maybe can't afford to buy their own homes, or for people who are in a property predicament. For example, the rent-to-rent strategy, where you rent a property from a landlord who might be having difficulty renting the property, or who doesn't want to bother with the dealing of the rental of the property, but is happy to receive a guaranteed rent. Or simply where an owner can no longer afford to keep up with the mortgage payments and at risk of repossession, which is where lease options come into play. If you like the contents of this video so far, I'd appreciate if you give it a thumbs up to let me know. And now for the cons. The major one being that the startup costs for property investing are high, especially since the recent budget, where the stamp duty for buying a second property was hiked from 3% to 5%. There is a lot you need to know before investing in property. You need to know the buying process, you need to understand the taxes, and you may need to involve a lot of people. That is, solicitor, the estate agent, the mortgage broker, possibly a tax advisor, a surveyor, and contractors. You'll also need the very important skill of calculating a deal. After all, we're doing this to make profits, right? Each transaction can take a long time. If you're buying a property, this can take weeks or even months. If you're doing rent to rent or lease options, it will take some time to build up a relationship with the property owner and to gain their trust. Managing a property business is hard work. When I started out, I loved it. My strategy was to buy, refurb, and rent out, what we call a vanilla buy-to-let. I really enjoyed doing interior design, buying all the fixtures and fittings, going shopping, dealing with the contractors, and managing the refurb. I do all the managing of the rentals myself as well. And I've enjoyed working with the tenants, but I'm over it now. Because I bought the properties in consecutive years, I feel like every year I'm doing a remortgage. There's just so much admin. I'm tired of renewing insurances, arranging the gas certificates every year, and drawing up all the tenancy agreements, doing all the reference checks. I know I could have my portfolio managed, but that means giving up some of my profits. The final con I'm going to talk about today is that it's a highly illiquid asset, which means you can't get your money out very quickly and easily when you might need it. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with any of my pros and cons, and if you have any others that you might think of. Because I've fallen out of love with property and being a landlady, I've decided that I'm going to sell up all of my properties and invest the money into buying dividend stocks in the stock market instead. I can't sell immediately though because of the current condition of the market, and I can't sell all at once because of the capital gains tax. Check out my previous video where I reveal the amount of monthly dividends that I'm currently receiving. Until next time, thanks for watching and take care.